All right. So we're going to get going talking about strategies with group counseling, as this is what this course is all about. So, okay, there we go. All right. So we have the multi-tiered system of counseling service and delivery. And so we have our three tiers that we focus on. And tier one is what we give to all students. Tier two is what we kind of limit to smaller groups. And then we have our tier three level, which we do individual counseling or we refer out. And I'm going to go into more detail and share some lesson plans with you so that you're kind of on the same page for your group lesson. So those are our areas that for our counseling ASCA mindsets and behaviors. We've got our domains, we've got our academic, our college and career, and our social emotional. So those are the ones that we are focusing on. And as you can see, the tier is all, some, and then few. And of course, it's a fluid tier, so a tier system, and people move from tier three back down to one to tier two, and it's a constant moving. Um, so for the academic, we would have that for high intensity, those students who are usually failing courses and consistently failing courses and not getting those college credits that are necessary. The universal interventions, which is our tier one for academics, that's what we give to everybody. So those are our universal supports and our UDLs, right? And then our second section is our second intervention is for high efficiency, rapid response for our academics. And that's where we do our small groups or our pullouts. And hopefully the student is able to catch up at that point. Okay. You see it on a split screen, one small. Okay. Let me see what's going on with it. Thank you for that. I see it the same way, but it's not supposed to be that way. Mm, Better? That's it, right? Okay. Okay, so we have all of it aligned to our school counseling, American School Counseling, and this is where we're doing our delivery section. So we have our access, our management, and our define, and this is actually where we are delivering these services. All right. So the reason we have the multi-tiered system domain is because it promotes equity. And we're trying to make sure that we service all students. And we want to use data to service those students in those different tier levels. Okay. So again, from tier one to tier two, those are the district and site agreed upon data elements. And so those are the sources that we're using, that the district wants us to use to pull that information. We'll talk about it in more detail, such as like attendance. So where are we pulling our attendance data? Usually we use our student systems. In Hawthorne, we have Power School. So we added the new components of Power School, which calculates the attendance on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and a monthly basis, and then it shows it overall. So right now I'm doing interventions for those students with 5 to 9 absences, or students that have 10 or more absences are being sent to ACT. ACT is a abolish chronic truancy. It is a program that we do with the district attorney's office, and the district attorney's office is the one that sends out the letters, does the meetings with the parents to inform them of the criteria, what the state will allow for absences, and then if they have exceeded those absences, then the problems that they may face and what the data shows. And then we track those students for a whole year with the act. So then we'll send them back for SART to do a SART contract, and that might be with the district attorney's office. And then we move to SARB, which is our third level. So that's an example for attendance. Now, what I would do probably at in a tier one is do with if I was for my fourth and fifth graders, I would do an attendance, like why are they coming to school late? Is it their parent? Is it? And I would pull that data based on, are they just tardy? Are they missing a lot of school? Do they have anxiety? And kind of do something with them on attendance and the importance of attendance and how it sets goals for us for the future. And that's where I would pull that data from. So where we put all this information is we align our LCAP goals and our student plans for success, which now it's called the SIP, as the SIPSA, and the SIPSA is where we write ourselves in. So it's really important that school counselors are written into that plan, student achievement plan, because if they're not written into there, we no longer have legislation that requires school districts to hire us as school counselors. So we can easily be replaced by other members, like social workers, like people who perform similar tasks as we do. So in order for us to make sure that we don't get written out as school counselors, we want to make sure that we're delivering services to our students. Okay. So it's really important that we write. And that's all written. That's just the format of how it's written. Most people, most counselors participate in that. How many of you guys know that your school counselor at your site participates in writing the student achievement plan, the SIPSA? You could just raise your hand. Anybody? Okay, so this is good information because, oh no, where'd you guys go? I accidentally clicked you off. All right. So with that SIPSA, you want to make sure that you are participating in that. Because if you're not participating in that SIPSA, you could be written out and the district could be replacing you with another position, such as a social worker or an intern. So these are things that are really important. Okay. Do you guys still see my screen? Yes? Okay, perfect. Okay, because it went away on my side. It's fine. I'm okay. Um, okay. So these are our core curriculums, and our core curriculums should take up in our tier one section and it should take up 80% of our time. So here's some examples of our core curriculums. Empathy, skills for learning, emotional management, problem solving, transitioning to middle school, high school, post-secondary. And then here are our 20%. Our 20% are addressing local needs specific to our school site and based on our needs assessment or our survey data. So grief and loss, education pays, appropriate social media use. These are all the ones that we want to use for that. All right, so here's some titles. So these are some great ideas that you guys can use if you're struggling with what are we going to talk about for our group assignments. Okay, so social skills, friendship skills, respect, conflict resolution, making healthy choices. Any of these examples are perfect for the 8 lessons that you plan to create. Okay. All right, so I want to show you a couple of lesson plans now. Let me stop sharing. and share something else. All right. And I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint in just a second. Okay, so this was, these are just different samples, but this was creating a 4-year plan, and this is for high school. And so this is what your lesson plans will look like. As you can see, this is the actual lesson plan from American School Counseling Association. And this is the one that you're going to be using, and this is one that's filled in. So this is for all school counselors. The targeted audience is ninth grade. They have their mindsets. They're the two that they're going to address, understanding post-secondary education. This is a tier 1 lesson plan, right? This is lesson 1 of 1. And so they're going to identify the benefits of planning one's own future, apply knowledge of graduation requirements, and then they have the slide deck. Now, here's the slide deck. I showed it to you before. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the slide deck. This is what I showed you to you before. So just like they have it in here, they have a link to it, right? So that is exactly how you will do your lesson plan. You will add the link, and then I'll be able to click on that link, and then I'll be able to access that lesson plan. Okay. So or that slide deck, right? And then they also have a Google form, and it's a planning doc. So as you can tell, that link is there as well. Okay. So these are all of the things that will be in your lesson plan. So it says, is it evidence-based? It's best practice action research and informed evidence-based. Okay. And this is because we know that for planning our futures. Right. So here's the procedure, and you can see they have an introduction, and you could put something like that. You could just say, or you could say, introduce yourself and state this. Okay. Whatever the key points that you would want the person to state as an introduction, right? As a reminder, school counselors are here to support you in making the best and most informed decisions surrounding post secondary opportunities. So you're just letting them know what is your role, because these are ninth graders. What's your role as a school counselor? And this is the first time that they're seeing you, so this is why those words are important to this specific lesson. And then it says, communicate the lesson objectives. By the end of today, we'll be able to do, and it tells you which slide you're going to communicate that on. You can see how detailed that is. And then here's your teaching content, right? So as it's going through, it's telling you what you'll be teaching on those specified slides, okay?
Hey, Professor, sorry to interrupt. I think you have a split screen, so it's hard to see what you're showing us.
I have a split screen. Let's see. What am I
Like
doing
on one
wrong?
side, I see the Zoom, and then on the other side, it's the slide that you're showing, the lesson plan.
Maybe what I'm doing wrong. Better?
There it is. Yes,
All
perfect.
right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. All right. I know what I did wrong. 10. Okay, so I just got to update. So I got to figure this one out. Zoom just updated. Okay. So as you can see, this was, it has all of the things that is there. It has their think, pair, share on slide 11. So you're going to have some of that activity and that communication. And then all the way down, they have it all the way down to 19. Then your practice content. So they want you to log into, and that's they're using Aries. So log and navigate through to access the completed 4-year plans, and log in to access their Google form to complete their plans. Then summarize. and then close. And then it says their anticipated number of students is all ninth graders because this is a tier 1 lesson plan. And then about 45 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes for the post assessment. And right there, there's your pre and post, and with a link. And the pre and post for this is there for me to access it and make sure that it's there. All right. Now, this is lesson 1 of 1. Obviously, yours is going to be lesson 1 of 8, correct? So then your follow-up would be, okay, so now we've introduced the 4-year lesson plan, right? You can see that I switched over to the PowerPoint, correct?
Professor, sorry for interrupt. Do you record this? Um,
I am recording. Yes, I
Okay.
am. I hope. I pressed it. Yes, I am recording. It says, yeah, okay. I am recording. Okay. So I started it. All right. So what was I going to say? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. So as a follow-up, what would be our next lesson? Who can think of something that we would build on to continue with these ninth graders? Throw out some ideas. Anybody?
Would it be to talk about colleges
Good.
or what like do
Excellent.
they need?
Excellent. That's a good one. Okay. Anything else? Maybe go over GPA. Okay, you in this PowerPoint, it touches on A through G, right? But maybe give them a sample, some past credit transcripts with so they can practice and they could say, okay, is this person getting able to apply to college? What colleges would they be able to apply to based on them and their A through G requirements? Did they complete them? They're not complete. You could do some samples and some group work so they could see, oh, this person had a couple of D's, had to remake some classes. So even just that, focusing on transcripts, that would be a follow-up activity. Because it's in ninth grade, they get a little practice. Some of them would understand it, some of them wouldn't, and then the colleges, like what are the college requirements? Do I want to go to a big college, a small college? How do I start looking for colleges for me? Am I playing a sport? Am I in band? What do I do? So those would be follow-ups to this introduction to career planning. Okay. Anybody else have any more ideas? What would be some other ideas that we could do as follow-ups? Because if we had to get 8 lessons, how would we accomplish getting 8 lessons for this? What if I'm not going to college? I mean, I know that's not something we want to always promote, but what if I wanted to talk about the community college and that path? Could that be a whole separate lesson? Yeah. So what I'm just hoping that you guys are getting so that you would know how to create these 8 lessons. Okay. How are you guys doing on your 8 lessons? Is
Yeah, I guess
everybody
you could
okay?
I guess you'd be able to touch like specifically on CSUs, what the requirements are for that, specifically for
Exactly.
UCs and so forth.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to share with you, like how you'll go about filling out your lesson plan and how you'll go about like adding the next lessons to it. So that's a sample of a 1 of 1. Most people do that in a tier 1 situation, but we could make that an 8-week series where we're meeting with all the ninth graders to provide them and they can take notes and so hands-on activities are the best ones for them, right? Actually calculating the GPA, actually seeing a transcript and working with the transcript, actually knowing what would be their next series of courses with A to G if I want to go to this college. So these would all be, and we only have one goal there, like the transcript, learning how to do the transcripts, one goal for the GPA, one goal for the colleges, introducing them to colleges, to different types of colleges. So those are right there. We've almost got about 4 to 5 lessons in this series. Okay. All right.
Professor, I have a question. This is Anna. Will we be able to also target some of the parents with, like, if they were to do the transcripts and stuff like that, would we be able to put parents as audience or no? Or it's just focusing on the students?
You're just focusing on the students for your lesson planning activity that you're going to do for your week 7 assignment. You're only going to focus on that. Now, if you wanted to do a series for parents, that you could do that as well, but it would be separate. You wouldn't want to do one for the students and one, but our course requirement is that you put 8 lessons together for students. Okay. So that's
Got
our
it.
focus. Okay. And then, all right, so moving on. All right, so this was just a core curriculum feedback tool. So this is something that you would develop and see how the students liked that particular lesson and to get their feedback on it and to see what else you needed to improve upon. Did they understand it? Did they need more hands-on? Were you just giving them too much information? So this is a feedback tool. Now I want to move into tier 2 and 3, because the tier 2 and 3 supports are the ones where we move into small group or large group workshops. And we want to do restorative justice, conflict mediation, check in, check out. These are all the direct services that we provide in our tier 2 counseling supports. And then our indirect services are a consultation and collaboration with other mental health agencies, supporting our teachers and students in the classroom, teacher staff education, family support education, and then referrals to in-school resources. So here are some specific titles for elementary in tier 2 intervention. So grade report conversations, like how they're progressing with their grades. It's hard in elementary because we just give 1s, 2s, and 3s. So something that I do in 5th grade is kind of move them in the direction of calculating a GPA. Promoting promotion groups, getting them to understand moving forward to the next grade level. Attendance workshops, this is a great one. Academic tools for success. An ADHD group for those students that have been diagnosed. I noticed that in elementary, they get diagnosed and they get taken to the doctor. Their parents may or may not give them medication, but a lot of them don't know what's going on with their body. So helping them to understand what's going on with their body and how their body is different than others and how they think differently kind of helps out a lot too. Some examples of social emotional behaviors, specific behavior skill groups, healthy relationships, groups provided by community agencies, again, the check-in, check-out, coping workshops, and developing social skills awareness. And then also in college and career exploration by pathways or expressed interest. I've done college fairs where they do boards about a specific college and then they speak about it. Strength building for college and career, and mindful messages for post-secondary planning. And then we have our equity groups, newcomers, focus groups, LGBTQ, special ed talks, LPACs, empowerment groups, and fostering support groups. So here's some more small group interventions. These are all great curriculums that you can use. The I've done Mind Up, Second Step, Boys Town. Those are the ones I know that I have had good experience, and I think that they're well received by students. And again, all of these have pros and cons, and we'll talk a little bit more about Castle, where they actually do the hard work for us. Okay. So some examples of tier 2 interventions for middle school and high school. We've got Tiger Talks, credit talks, promotion groups, again, attendance, college applications, FAFSA, scholarship groups, social emotional. When I share this PowerPoint with you and upload it, these have links to them so you can go to these specific links. Okay.
I have a question real quick. Are we supposed to be seeing a PowerPoint slide right now? Because we don't.
Yeah. What happened? I don't see you anymore, so you should have been seeing a PowerPoint slide the whole time. All right. Now again. Perfect. I don't know what's going on. All right. So these were the small group interventions. These are the curriculums I was just telling you about. So these links, like I said, you can go to these links and you can see what these curriculums are about. And then, like I said, everyone has pros and cons. And Castle is the one that kind of does the hard work for us and does the research base and tells you if it's evidence based, if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, what it was intended to do. And they are keeping the data. They'll tell you whether it's in urban, it's all around. Is it just West Coast, East Coast? It does all of that for you. Okay. So we were talking about the middle school domains when you said you couldn't see. So this is what you missed. I was going over that information and just giving you examples of different topics that you could do for our tier 2 interventions. All right, so here's where we find when we go to the program guides, Castle program guides, they do all the hard work for us. What Works Clearinghouse does too, Attendance Works doesn't. All these guys give us resources that are evidence-based, okay? So when you're looking for that, and like they said, don't reinvent the wheel, and you are going to go to these places that have already collected the data on these resources. So when you're pitching something to your district, which I'm constantly pitching, I do the research, I look at something and I say, hey, I like this. Because if you don't pitch to your district, guess what? You'll be using stuff that has been around since 2000. And we know the kids of 2000 are nothing like the kids of 2025. Okay. So you have to find something that's going to be eye-catching for them, that's going to catch their attention, that's going to have relevant information in it, and they won't talk about things of the past. All right. So when we're doing our small groups, they're usually brief, and some of the techniques that are most successful are like our solution-focused techniques, our narrative techniques. Those are the ones that kind of get us to helping them and moving them along so that they kind of move from out of tier 2 back to tier 1 and not needing those extra supports. So we kind of talked about this already. I did that, and I have all my links for you on that one. Let's see. Here's some more specific ones that came out of the book for small group topics. So if you guys are still searching for some of those small group topics, those are the ones. Now, solution focused therapy is getting to building a solution. So it kind of focuses on what would you do if you were in this perfect world and you could have whatever you wanted, and then they kind of move towards that and trying to figure out how to make themselves as as comfortable as possible towards their solution. So here's some techniques that are used in solution focus. The miracle question. It's a technique that therapists use to think outside the square and what would their life be like if that problem didn't exist? And then they kind of set up what would happen and what would their life look like if a miracle happened tomorrow and that problem was gone. And then it has the exact conversation, and then it kind of opens them up to future possibilities of what they could do um, if that problem didn't exist. And so they're not focusing so much on the problem, but focusing on getting rid of that problem. They have the exception question. Tell me a time when you felt happiest. What was it about that day that made it a better day? Can you think of a time when the problem wasn't present in your life? So these are things that helps them move from those uncomfortable feelings to those comfortable feelings. So they're kind of moving away from, that constant focus on what is not healthy for them and what is causing the anxiety. Then they have the scaling questions, generally from 1 to 10, 10 being the most anxious, 1 being the most relaxed. Where would you put yourself right now? So these are techniques that are used when you're doing these type of lesson plans. So the benefits of solution focus is that usually they last about 5 to 8 sessions. You should see some results with the kids, unless they're just resistant or they need more therapy or it's deeper than that and they need more of an assessment. So, but for the basic kids that's just gone through some type of trauma that's kind of hindering them at this moment and they're not consistently being re-exposed to the trauma, the solution focus kind of helps them get past it. Um, Narrative therapy aims at separating the individual from the problem and allowing the individual to internalize their issues rather than it internalizing them. And it relies on the individual's own skill and sense of purpose to guide them through the difficult times. So, obviously you have to have someone who's a little bit more aware, self-aware, and that they know that the problem is the problem and that the person is the problem so that we aren't developing the low self-esteem, the depression. And so narrative therapy helps us to focus and get them through that difficult time. And then here are a couple of techniques that are used with narrative therapy, telling one's own story, putting together a narrative and finding your own voice and putting the story in their own words, reauthorizing, that's what it's called. Externalizing, leading your clients toward viewing their problem or behavior as external instead of an unchangeable part of themselves. So that's what the focus is. Deconstructing, reducing the problem a client is experiencing and making it easier to understand the whole picture. And then a statement of position map where the client writes about the characteristics and naming and labeling of the problem and using that mapping format in literature to map through the problem and each domain of life that it touches, home, school, work, and relationships, evaluating the effects of the problem in these domains and values that come up when thinking about why these effects are undesirable. All right. Okay, what happened to my other page? Okay, there we go. All right. Do you guys have any questions about your next major assignment? Is anybody having difficulty moving along? So at this point, you guys should have at least, I would say, being that it's due week 7, you should have at least 2 to 3 lessons completed. Do your groups have that? And have you begun to write your paper? Because you should be sharing a Google Doc to write your paper. Okay, so what we'll spend the rest of this time on is using that opportunity to connect with your partner and get going on writing and composing and sharing docs for your lesson planning. Okay, so this is your time to kind of connect with your partner, and I will create breakout groups for you. You know who's your partner, so it's just easier if I make the breakout rooms. It should be 7 of them. And just tell each other what room you're going to jump into. So, Anna, who's your partner? I'll put you in room 1.
Cynthia? Diaz?
Okay. And Ashley, who's your partner? Ashley's not here.
Oh, Nancy.
Oh, Nancy. Thank you. And Bridget, who's your partner?
Rosa?
Brittany, who's your partner?
Sorry, did you say Jackie?
Brittany.
Oh, sorry.
You're Brittany's partner?
Yes.
No, my partner's not here today, actually. She's not in class.
Hold on 1 second. No, Brittany. And Martha, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's my partner, Martha.
All right. And Jackie, who's your partner?
Mine is Ashley Nelson.
Okay, hold on, Jackie. I'm gonna come in your room. And Giovanna, who's your partner?
It's true, great.
Okay, so in this time, and I'm going to be jumping into your groups and making sure you guys should be sharing your Google Doc. You can share things with each other in your breakout groups. You should leave knowing that I'm doing these 4 lessons. These are the titles I've created. And then taking a look at the written portion and dividing that section up as well. Okay?
I have
Ashley.
a quick question. For the lesson plan that me and my partner are using, Nancy, we're using the Ask a Lesson Plan. But on the bottom it says Data Collection Plan. For that section, do we just have it the same for each? Since it's one unit, it's like collecting the same data, right, for the whole entire unit? Or are we making up different numbers every lesson? Or can we use the same data collection plan for all the lessons?
For all the lessons. It's a series. So this is like, your data collection, how you chose those students. Now see if it was like the tier 1 that I showed you, they're giving it to all 9th graders. So there was no data collection.
Okay. And then for the pre and the assessment, we just do that as the first lesson and then the last lesson, or do you want us to have one for each of the lessons, having a pre-survey and a
What you said,
um
your first one. You'll have one pre and post test. And usually the
okay.
pre and post
Okay.
test is exactly the same. And you'll measure
Okay.
it when you start the lessons, and you'll measure when you end all of the lessons to see how do they feel about it after attending this series.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so you're going to link that one time on that lesson plan. Okay, I'm going to open all the rooms, and you guys all join in. Um, Jackie, just stay here. Where'd Jackie go? She went in? Anyway, okay. That's fine. Jackie, have you had contact with Ashley?
I do, yeah. We have each other's number and we've been texting.
So, okay, because I was a little concerned with some of the conversations she and I were having that she was thinking of dropping. So I'm
Okay.
not sure what her thing where she is with it at this point because she wasn't able to come to class again today.
Okay.
So um the dean is giving her different advice at this point. And so I would like for you to join someone else's group for
Okay.
fear she may not. And, she can take as much time as she wants to decide when she wants to drop. And I don't want you left holding the bag, just sitting here by yourself.
Okay.
So what I'd like to do, since I haven't heard from her, I think today she'll have to make a decision, and then we may not know her final answer because she has a lot going on
Right.
um, for a while. So I don't want you working. So let me see if I can move you. Go back to the main room,
Okay.
and I'll meet you back in the main room.
Okay.
Did you have anybody that you wanted to work with, perhaps?
Honestly, I like everybody in my cohort, so there's nobody really specifically I wouldn't want to work with, so I don't mind whichever group.
How about you join Ashley and Nat and Nancy? That sound good? Okay. So I'm gonna move you to room 2, and then I'm gonna join that room, okay?
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Hi, ladies. I'm gonna give you a new partner.
Okay,
I have
great.
concerns that her partner may not be, finishing, so um our course. So I don't want to have her just out on her own, when she could be working with someone and getting her work done. Okay, so are you guys okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay,
sounds
great.
good.
Divide the work. So, maybe instead, you guys, 4 people, one person can work on 4 lessons, one person can work on the other 4, and one person can write the paper.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good. Yep.
Okay, guys, thank you for being so flexible. I appreciate it.
Of course.
I appreciate
Cynthia?
Sorry, Anna got disconnected. She's back.
Here she comes right now. Let me go back to the main room. I let her in. Let me go back
I
and
was
get her.
looking for the book we're going to use.
Okay, hold on. Let me go back and get her. Anna?
Sorry, my phone got disconnected. I'm trying to go back into my breakout room. I was with
Right.
Cynthia.
Let me get you there. Let me get you there. There you go, Cynthia. I mean, Anna. I joined you with Cynthia. You see it yet? All right. Students are currently in their breakout sessions working on their group project and giving them additional time for their group project. So this will conclude our recording. Thank you.